tuned in to Dear Mommy Devotional Podcast. I'm your host, Ria. Let's get honest about motherhood. Let's go, girl. Hey, girl, look at you tuning in once again. Thank you so much. You know this means the world to me that you tune in and listen. I pray that whatever I say today is exactly what you needed and it's on time. So let's jump right in. We're going to be looking at 1 Samuel 23, chapter 23, and we're going to look at a few verses. This is talking about David, and it's a long passage. I encourage you to read it. I absolutely love David, but I'm just going to pull a few verses from here. And we're going to look at verse 2 to 4, and we're also going to look at verse 10. But let me give you a little synopsis of what's going on here. So David is preparing for battle while still running from Saul. If you have any knowledge of David, you would know many know David as either King David, the young boy who slayed Goliath. But a part of his story was running from someone who originally adored him. So for a long time, he's running from Saul because Saul was jealous of David. He noticed, or he knew that eventually David would probably take his place. So he was jealous that the people was in love with David, and his jealousy took over, and he began to trying to take David's life. So David is on the run while still preparing for battle at Keilah. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the word right, but if you know the right pronunciation, drop it in the comments or whatever. But so here is David. Verse 1 it says, one day news came to David that the Philistines were at Keilah, stealing grain from the threshing floors. David asked the Lord, "Should I go and attack them?" "Yes, go, save Keilah," the Lord told him. But David's men said, "We're afraid, even here in Judah. We certainly don't want to go to Keilah to fight the whole Philistine army." So David asked the Lord again, and again the Lord replied, "Go down and to Keilah, for I will help you conquer the Philistines." We're going to scroll down to verse 10. Here, now David is saying another prayer to God because he learned of Saul's plan to try to ambush him. So David in verse 10 says, "Then David prayed, 'O Lord, God of Israel, I have heard that Saul is planning to come and destroy Keilah because I am here. Will the leaders of Keilah betray me to him?'" Isn't this horrible? He just saved these people. "But will the leaders of Keilah betray me to him? And will Saul actually come as I have heard? O Lord God of Israel, please tell me." And the Lord said, "He will come." Again, David asked, this is verse 12. I didn't realize I needed that verse. So yes, again, David asks, "Will the leaders of Keilah betray me and my men to Saul?" And the Lord replied, "Yes, they will betray you." Y'all, if that is not a perfect example of the enemy, I don't know what is. But so David just finished saving these people, and yet the Lord said, "They're going to betray you. You need to run." So I encourage you to read. There's so many things that you can pull from this passage, but so I encourage you in your own time to read the story. I love David, but we're gonna pull out just two things out of this, which was Saul's praying to God. Not Saul, David praying to God. We're gonna focus on that today. I love David because I think between Paul and David, they're both very similar to us as humans. I think a lot of people can relate to David and a lot of people can relate to Paul, because they were not perfect, they were not perfect, yet God used them. And I love how David just really desired God. Even in his imperfectness, even when he did wrong, he sought God. He was constantly seeking God. And I think that's why I relate so much to David. And I've always, he's just my favorite in the Bible. So one thing about David, he had a track record in winning battles. Like I said earlier, you probably know David about over slaying Goliath, but he did not just slay Goliath. Scriptures before that said how he killed a lion, he killed a bear. He's had so many victories, and that's part of the reason why Saul disliked David, because the people started singing of the great victories that David did instead of singing praises about Saul. So David had a track record when it came to victories. And this whole story between Saul and David and how David was on a constant run from Saul is really a vision or an example of how the enemy constantly pursues us, trying to destroy us. Because there's something that we have that the enemy has lost and can never regain, and that is we are adored by God. We are his creation. God has given us so many things that the enemy can never regain, and so he is constantly trying to destroy us. I said it in the last episode and I'll say it again. He is like a roaring lion, seeking who he may devour. He is the thief in the night, trying to kill, steal, and destroy. He is definitely on a hot pursuit for your life, for your family, for your children, for all your possessions. He is on a hunt to get you. And so this running from the enemy is definitely an example of how the enemy constantly pursues us. We as children of God also have a track record of victories, but the thing is, the enemy has a strategic way of attack where he will present his battle like it's new and make you think it's new, make you think that it's you can't defeat it. He has a strategic way. I know a lot of people call the enemy dumb, but he really isn't dumb. He studies. And I say he studies because he will bring things up constantly because he knows what your pet peeves are. So he has a strategic way of presenting a battle, throwing a battle in your face to make you think that this one you're not going to win, and you somehow forget everything, all the other battles. You somehow forget how God brought you from this place. And I will speak for myself. I'm always going to throw me under the bus, honey. But there was a time where, my husband and I say this all the time, when my husband lost his job. And I thought this was it. Like, how are we going to get out of here? Because months were going by and, we're dependent on WIC. I'm like, okay, God. And so it consumed me. I was completely consumed by this, that I had forgotten what God had done for me before. I had forgotten how God had protected me over and over. And so I thank God when I have seasons like this where I really feel like the devil is attacking. God gives me a song. And the song, I want to say that it's by Lauren. I can't pronounce her last name, but it basically just goes, that he will fight for you. And in that season, every song that would play on Spotify, and if you have Spotify, you know that the songs are random. It's not like you made your own playlist like back in the 90s, had your little CD with the tape on it with all the names and stuff, or your cassette. I loved cassettes. But anyway, it wasn't, Spotify isn't like you create your own playlist. Sometimes random songs come on, and I'll never forget one day really having a tough day. I turned on Spotify, and the same song that was washing me in peace the night before was the first song that came on Spotify. And every song after that was, all it talked about is how God is fighting for you, how God has not forgotten for you, how God is fighting for you. Every song was that. So I thank God for him reminding me of all the victories. And so I hope to encourage you today, whether you're in a current battle, whether you're coming out of one but can't really see the light just yet, or trust me, life is going to happen and you're going to enter into a battle. I hope that this encourages you that you have had victories with God and you're going to come out as a victor. So there's one thing that my dad said that I would never forget that I really hope encourages you. He said that if you can swim in 3 feet, 20 feet doesn't make a difference, because the depth of water doesn't make the difference. What makes the difference is the willingness and the ability. When you're in survival mode, when you want to survive, you will do anything to survive. You will do anything to get out of that place. Throw somebody in the water right now that can't swim. The first thing they're going to do is swing their arms. They're going to gasp for air. They're going to try their best to get somewhere, whether they've taken a swimming lesson or not. Survival is going to kick in, and they're going to try everything to survive. So my question to you, if you're in the middle of a battle right now, or if you're towards the end but you can't see the light, are you ready to fight? And that's the title for today. Are you ready to fight? Are you going to do what you need to do to survive? My papa said this not too long ago. Life has a way to make you go into that prayer closet. The enemy has a way of pulling that attack that you will start doing things that you've never done before. But there's wrong ways and there's some right ways. So let's try to go for the right ways. Story time, I'm always going to pull out a story. I wanted to share this dream that I had because it kind of goes with the whole theme. I had a dream of this girl running from this man, and she was terrified. My dreams are very, very vivid. I do believe that I'm a dreamer. I can see things and it's very, very real to me. I don't know if you're like that. Again, I like to know things that we have in common. So if you're a dreamer, if your dreams are very vivid, just let me know. I like to see what we have in common. But so I'm a very vivid dreamer, and when I dream, I really don't know that I'm dreaming until I wake up. And I say that because my husband, he always says that he knows when he's in a dream and he can escape stuff. But me, I am that person. Whoever that person is, I'm that person. And so I feel the fear physically. I can feel it on my body. So in this dream, she's very, very scared. She's running from this man. And she has 2 other women helping her find places to hide. And so she gets into this apartment. She thought that she found safety. And the guy shows up. And again, she's scared. She was about to run. Her friends are trying to help her. And it hit her. I have to stop and I have to fight. I have to fight this guy. That's the only way. And I woke up from the dream panting, and I was scared myself because I realized, wow, that was really real, But she realized she had to fight the enemy. You might be thinking right now, well, my child is doing something now, or my husband is now he's doing this. I want to let you know that the strategy of the enemy might seem different, but it is the same fight. And until you stand up and fight back, until you decide, no, I am not going to take it anymore, he's going to keep coming. He's going to change up the strategy, but he's going to keep coming. But you have to decide right now, I'm going to fight back, and I'm going to fight back the right way. Because like I said earlier, there's multiple ways that you can fight, but the wrong way is fighting out of your own strength. So you might be watching this and thinking, no, I've been fighting. I've been going back and forth with my husband. I've been trying all these different things with my child. I'm at my wit's end. I'm so tired. I'm done. I cannot fight anymore. That might be what you're possibly thinking right now, that you've been fighting. Some of you have not started because you're too scared. And it might have seemed that David wasn't fighting because he ran from the enemy, but it wasn't that. He fought out of God's strength. In verse 2, we saw that he prayed to, verse 2 and 3, we saw that he prayed to God twice to make sure, hey God, can I have this victory? Am I going to win this battle? In verse 10 and 11, he prayed again, Father, are they going to come after me? What should I do? In the first two verses, God told him, you can go to the battle, you will win. In verse 10, God told him, run. So it might seem that David was running away, that he was choosing not to fight, but it's not that. He was fighting out of God's strength. When God tells you that the battle, this is not yours, when God tells you to stand still, it doesn't mean that you're being weak against the enemy. You're being strategic in your fight. You're being so strategic in your fight, but the only way you can do that is fighting out of God's strength. How can you fight out of God's strength? By seeking God. Let me ask you this. Have you been praying? In all of this fighting, in all of this seeking of strategies of what to do with your child, what to do with your husband, and in the frustration that you're going through, have you been praying? And if you've been praying, have you been strategic about your prayer? I'm gonna tell you right now, honey, there has been times that my prayer has been, when things have been tough between my husband and I, my prayer has been, God, that's it. There was no strategy to the prayer. But what I've started to do is, when my husband tells me something, we have a lot of honest conversations. And what I mean by honesty is, we have conversations where we're going to say things that might hurt the other one, but we're going to get this out. So when we have those types of conversations, I listen to the root. Okay, he's saying this is what I need to start to be in prayer for. So that's strategic fighting in prayer. You're listening to the root cause, what is going on, so that you know what to fight, or you know what to pray for. The only way that you will be able to win against the enemy is by being strategic. I promise you, the enemy is strategic when it comes to you. He knows. He's been studying. He knows the weak spots. He knows what ticks you off. He knows what buttons to push. He is strategic. You have to be strategic back. You have to. Your rest is in heaven. Girl, and that's tough. Tough for me to say. Because I have been there where I've said, I'm done with this. I am completely done. They can fend for themselves. I care less. I cannot do this anymore. I'm throwing in the towel. I've said it because I realized that I was tired. I was tired of fighting. I just wanted peace. But I had to come to the realization that my peace, my rest is in heaven, where the enemy is not. My days on earth, I have to be a guardman for my family. I have to be a watchman for my family. I have to stay guarded because the enemy is after attack of my husband. The enemy is on the attack of my children. The enemy is on the attack of me. The enemy is on the attack of my friends. And the only thing that I can do without a shadow of a doubt, I may not have the financial means to bless someone right away. I may not have food right here and then to give to someone, but I can always have the words in my lips. And I can always have that time with God and go into prayer. Do not diminish or allow anyone to make you think that your prayer time is not a strategic plan and a perfect weapon against the enemy. Your prayer is a time where God can tell you what to do, what to say, when not to say something, when to be quiet. Not every battle is for you to, attack or go into. Choosing your battles, right? God knows He knows which battles for you to choose. So don't let anybody diminish your prayer time. Prayer is so needed being a mom, and I will always push prayer because I've seen it work in my life and it continues to work in my life. I don't get it perfect all the time. So like I say always, I am not talking from a perfect place, but I am talking from victories. The only way I had those victories was because I sought God and I allowed Him to work in my life. So let's be victorious together, honey. I know that you can do this. If you need prayer, send me a message. You can go to my blog page, dearmommy.org. There's a prayer requests option or a tab that you can click on. You can send a prayer request. It's totally anonymous, and I will be in prayer for you because you are my sister in Christ, honey, and your soul matters to me. Your peace of mind matters to me. So if you need prayer, send me a prayer request. I am there for you. Listen, if this wasn't what you needed today, I pray that you can pocket it and use it when you do need it. Like I say always, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it.